Welcome to Stuff I Wish They Taught Me, the podcast all about learning a little bit about a lot of things. I'm your host, Alex Luong, and I hope that today you get to walk away learning about something that you wish you knew a lot sooner. For more, please visit our website at thebalancedlearner.com. What's up, everybody? I want to go ahead and start today's episode by talking about one of the greatest superheroes of all time. Of course, I'm talking about Bruce Wayne. A lot of people might know him as Batman. The reason why Batman is my favorite superhero is because he kind of does what he needs to do without any actual superpowers. Sure, he's loaded. He has a lot of money. But at the end of the day, he doesn't have any superpowers or anything that makes him supernatural other than the fact that he has a lot of money. But either way, the point I'm trying to make here is that Batman is my favorite superhero mainly because of one thing. One thing that's pretty much constant throughout all of the Batman universes and all of the Batman stories that we see is that he always keeps it really close and he's really tight with his butler. And his butler, of course, is named Alfred. Probably the GOAT of all Alfreds, greatest of all time when it comes to being a butler, but also being someone that Batman can always lean on, right? Every single Batman series or show that we see, Batman is always in need of help from someone, and that's most likely either, Robin or another superhero, but honestly, it always comes down to Alfred. If you guys seen Batman, the Dark Knight trilogy, the one with Christian Bale in it, Alfred is an OG in that series because he always comes in kind of putting Batman in his place, but also at the same time letting Batman know that, you can go out and do these great things, but at the same time, you got to make sure you're taking care of yourself too. That brings me to another discussion or another topic that I want to bring up, which is Star Wars. For those of you who don't know me, I love to watch Star Wars. And one of my favorite characters of all time in Star Wars is Yoda, right? The little green guy. He can move things with his hands. In The Mandalorian, there's a species of him that's super cute, but I'm talking about Yoda. This is Master Yoda here, guys. Green lightsaber, you know how it is. And if you don't know Star Wars, then what you should know about Master Yoda is that they don't call him Master for nothing, all right? He's one of the baddest people in the whole trilogy, but he makes his first appearance in the older Star Wars when he is helping out Luke Skywalker. And he teaches Luke how to pretty much use the Force, and then he lifts this airplane with his hands. It was a great scene. But at the end of the day, he was always there to help Luke kind of manage his feelings and his emotions and how he can use it to ultimately defeat Darth Vader, which also, spoiler alert, is Luke's father. But just like in the Star Wars trilogy, everyone needs a Yoda. Even Darth Vader had Obi-Wan Kenobi at one time, but also every Batman needs an Alfred. And the point I'm trying to make here is that over and over again, in every situation, whether we're talking about heroes, or we're talking about specific shows, there's always that teacher and student relationship that we see. And that is so important in life. And I don't want to call it teacher and student. I really like to call it a mentor and someone who's willing to learn in life. And that's what today's episode is all about. Today's episode is all about mentors. And what do I mean by that? We're going to be going over some of the most important reasons as to why you should have a mentor as you're developing through life. We're going to go ahead and talk about what qualities you should look out for when you're looking for a mentor. And finally, I'm going to even give you guys a few tips on how to get one. So stay tuned and I hope you enjoy the show. Have you guys ever seen one of those award shows like the Emmys or the Grammys, and then two of the people announcing the winner announce it at the same time, and the winner is, and then that person walks up to the stage and everyone's applauding and it gets quiet and then they start to talk about their speech. What's something that's constant among each and every single one of those speeches? It always starts off with, thank you so much for this award, but I would like to thank my fill in the blank. The point I'm trying to make here is that as you navigate yourself through life, most successful people will tell you that they couldn't have done it without the help of others. And a part of that team that really helps them out could be one or many mentors. Whenever we hear the word mentor, we might think about maybe a close family member or maybe even a very close family friend who has guided us through day one, through day two, since the very beginning. But I just want to clear up one thing about mentorship. It doesn't always necessarily mean that this is someone that has known you since you were young. Some of my mentors I've met when I started college, some of them I'm still meeting now. But before we get into that, I want to acknowledge that sometimes these people are in your lives without you even knowing it. And it's definitely important to have these people in your lives because they kind of help you navigate and they help you kind of figure things out, which I'm going to get into a little bit later. But first, I just want to share a little bit about my mentors and kind of give you guys a little bit of context behind what I'm talking about here. So definitely my first mentor, I figured out he wasn't really my mentor until way later in life. Now, this person has always, ever since I was young, always wanted me to achieve more, to challenge myself, to do greater things, and was always very supportive of me, both indirectly and directly. This was someone that I can always turn to when I needed help, whether it was a question about life, about finances, about college, about anything really, someone that I could always lean on. This person is actually my uncle, and he is definitely family, so I definitely want to cover that ground and know that, there's people in your family who have mentored you without you even knowing the formal name of a mentor. My second mentor I met when I was at community college. Now, I'm a stickler when it comes to writing essays and things like that, and I always wanted to make sure it was really, really perfect. When I was taking an English class, one of the English tutors there, which ended up being my professor, she was always very detailed and paid a lot of close attention to my writing. And I remember I would always go up to her and I would show her my essays and she would read it over and it would never be good enough. She would always find something that I can improve. And I remember towards the end of the semester, I asked her, is anything ever going to be good enough as far as my writing? And she looked at me and she said, in life, you always got to know that you can do better. You always have to improve. Perfect doesn't exist because when you get to perfect, you get complacent. And I took that with me for the rest of my life. And that's something that I realized in her that I thought, wow, this person has a lot of knowledge and experience, and I want to keep this relationship with this person. And she ended up being my mentor. Another mentor is when I started college at Cal State Northridge. And the very first transfer orientation that I went to a room and it was full of people. And I saw the person presenting who ultimately would become my academic advisor. And the first thing I noticed about him was, hey, he's an Asian American male, and so am I. And something you want to understand in the world of counseling and academic advising, I noticed that that isn't very common. And I saw something in him, and I think he saw something in me much later on after we had plenty of advising sessions that we related with each other a lot, and I knew for sure that this is someone that I wanted to mentor me because he is in a position of where I want to be one day. So that was a key factor in figuring that out as well. But the point of me sharing these 3 different mentors I have with you is that I want you to understand that you can find mentors anywhere, and it doesn't have to be specifically in what you want to do. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but first I just wanted to give you guys a little context about the importance of mentorship. Each and every single one of these mentors have helped me in some way when it comes to my professional and personal development. When it came to applying to graduate school or applying for jobs, and I needed people to refer me as references, I was able to lean on these people. When things got tough for me and I didn't understand how to process certain emotions or how to handle certain situations, it was these mentors that I can lean on. So it's really important because this show is all about learning things that we wish we knew earlier. And something even today that I wish I knew back then when I was younger is that I really wish I made more time to make even more mentors. And I know I have 2 or 3, and I'm not like flexing or showing off. I'm just letting you guys know that there has been a lot of people that helped me get to where I am today. And I really hope that someday you can look back and thank this podcast for all of the mentors that you have found. I want to start off by talking a little bit about the type of qualities that you should look for in a mentor. But first, I want to talk about the search, all right? When you're searching for a mentor, You don't want to be looking around actively asking people the first time you meet them, hey, do you want to be my mentor? You kind of want to feel it out, right? It's a two-way street. You want to make sure that this is someone that can provide you with some insight and someone that's knowledgeable, and that's what I'm going to get into right now. So there's a few qualities of a mentor that are, A1 steak sauce required, right? First of all, you want to make sure that your mentor is extremely knowledgeable. And when I say that, I don't mean that they know everything about everything, but you want to make sure that they know a lot about some sort of specific things so that they can teach it to you. I don't mean that you should be out and looking and saying, oh, this person doesn't know a lot of information. Maybe they won't be my mentor. No, it's not like that cold and not that upfront, but it's definitely something you want to consider. You also want a mentor that is definitely really resourceful. And what does it mean to be resourceful? Well, being resourceful means that they're willing to reach out to find opportunities for you, but also different resources for you. For example, with one of my mentors, I was in need of experience because I didn't have a lot of experience on my resume relating to counseling. And he always took the extra mile to see, like, who can I contact and make that connection with you so that you could get an internship and things like that. So that's really important with mentorship. Like, you want them to be resourceful, as in they're willing to kind of put themselves out there to find a great resource for you. One key indicator of a potential mentor is someone that actually follows up with you. Someone that, after you met with them or you told them about a story or that you're interviewing for a certain position or for a program or something like that, they actually take the time to actually reach out to you. Now, it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you have to reach out to them and feel out their response. For example, my mentor never reached out to me individually because they're really busy, but after I got through these major achievements or downfalls in my life and I would contact them, they would always reply back right away and be ready to talk to me, whether that's meeting up to have a cup of coffee or talking over the phone or seeing them in their office. They always made themselves available for me. So that's something else you want to look out for too. And finally, this one is hard to kind of navigate, but this is something that you feel. There's no way you could really measure this, but something that's really important about a mentor is that they genuinely care about you. This is extremely important when it comes to mentorship. You want someone that actually cares about your goals, your feelings, your dreams, your passion, and is willing to help you out. Because if you choose someone to be your mentor and they don't really care about you, then that defeats the whole purpose. They're not going to be a good mentor for you. So make sure the people that you choose is the people that actually care about your development and your progression. And of course, once we know what we're looking for in a mentor, it's important to also acknowledge why we might need a mentor. So it's definitely important to acknowledge that sometimes a mentor helps you advance in life, right? They give you life tips. And I'm not talking just strictly about professional or educational development. I've had conversations with my mentor about what it's like to buy your first home, relationship, advice and things like that, how to better suit yourself and how to live happier, things like that. And ultimately, a mentor could really help you advance in life in that aspect, but at the same time, like I said earlier, they could connect you with the right people if they genuinely care about you and if they have that type of networking. One of the key aspects for me as why I look for a mentor and what I look for in a mentor is someone who has probably been through things that you have not been through, or someone who is going through things or has been through things that you plan to go through. So a big thing for me is I wanted a mentor that already went through their master's program in counseling because I knew for sure that that's something I wanted to do. And when I did that, I was able to ask, hey, what did they ask you when you were applying? What was the school like? How did you take advantage of it? And of course, the golden question, what is something that you wish you knew as you were going through that process? And by having this conversation with them, I was able to kind of fine tune my own route, learn from their mistakes or their achievements, and make myself a more reputable and a more prepared candidate. And that's another thing as to why you need a mentor. You can use their personal experiences and mold it and fine tune it into your own. And that's essential to providing yourself with a mentor that is efficient and effective for your lifestyle. If I haven't convinced you as far as the things you should look out for or the importance of having a mentor left, I just want to leave you off with this one quote by Steve Jobs. He said, "Again, you can't connect the dots looking forward. you can only connect them looking backwards. The importance of that is so powerful. Your mentors are the ones looking back, and you are the one looking forward. So that relationship will really blend both of those perspectives together for the benefit of yourself and also the benefit of your mentor. So, wherever you are at in life, I want you to know that it's never too late to find new mentors. Some people who are starting their new jobs at 35 or 40 are still looking for mentors, and some of you who might be 13, 14 still in high school might be looking for a mentor, and obviously everyone in between. So, I have a few tips on how to find one. Tip number one, you want to start early in the process. And what do I mean by that? If you're a college student right now or a high school student, keep in mind those teachers who have really influenced you. Keep in mind the teachers who have really influenced you outside of what they're actually teaching you for their curriculum. If you're in high school, that means maybe stopping by your teachers' passing periods, saying hello, seeing how they are as human beings. If you're in college, utilize office hours. I'm going to say it again. Utilize office hours. Most professors are required to have a short amount of time where they're required to meet with students and have it like an open discussion. You could go visit them at their office or at a specific room, and that time is meant for you to ask them questions about the class. But anytime that happened with me, I was able to go talk to professors about their lives, and I would ask them, hey, what's something you wish you knew when you were in college like me? Or hey, what's something that you would teach someone who is going through a similar experience as I am? Or hey, what's next for you? What are you looking forward to? Questions like that will have the person kind of think of you in a way where, okay, this student is really trying to get to know me. And that opens the door for that mentorship role. The second step is don't focus purely on looking. Now, I know that sounds very weird. I said it earlier, you don't want to go into every professor's office and just say, hey, Alex here. You down to mentor me? Without even trying to get to know them first, right? This takes time to develop. Kind of like in Pokemon, right? It takes a lot of time for you to evolve your Pokemon. I remember in the Game Boy, I used to run around the grass all the time and I'll just run into these random Pokemon when I'm trying to upgrade my Squirtle all the way up to a Blastoise. And you had to grind, right? You had to really make sure you took the time in developing that Pokemon. So that's the same thing about a relationship between a student and a mentor. It takes time to develop, and it takes congruency, like a collaboration between two parties, the mentor and the student. So you want to make sure you're not going out there just saying, hey, I'm only talking to you because I really want you to help me advance in my career and things like that, right? Get to know the person, be genuine, and they will reciprocate and respond in the same way. A good place to start, which is step number 3, is look for people in similar roles as to where you want to be. If you're a nursing student, then maybe you should find someone who is currently a nurse at a similar facility of where you're at. And you can ask them, hey, how did you get here? What were some factors that maybe you considered when you were in nursing school that influenced where you are now? If you could go back in time, what would you do differently? What would you do the same? Same thing for other professions, right? If you are into business and you want to be an entrepreneur, go out there, find entrepreneurs who are successful now. Ask them how they did it. Ask them what they did. Ask them the strategies that they used, the things they learned from school, or some don't even go to school. How did they do it like that, right? It's important to start off there. Find people who are in the roles that you want to be in and ask them how they got there, and that will ultimately help you. Honestly, I would generally say that most people in the world want to help others. That's something that's very common, right? I want to help others. And there are a lot of different ways to know how to do that, right? Some people commit their lives to it, some people not so much. And most mentors are willing to help the future and the youth, which may be you. And if you come across someone, which I have as well, who don't want to do that and who aren't genuinely interested in that, then would you really want them as a mentor anyway? And finally, if you're a student or someone right now who is just kind of lost, like, oh man, I'm shy, I don't know where to start, I don't know who to talk to, I would advise you to just look around at where you're at and look at all the different resources available to you. If you're a student still in high school, it doesn't mean that only your teachers can be your mentors. What about your counselor? What about your coach? What about the people that work in your career center or the people that are just a part of your school community? This is especially apparent when you're in college. Colleges have so many different resources and student services available, and there are a bunch of different counselors that serve specific roles or advisors that serve specific roles as well throughout the campus. Take a look around there. Look around the different clubs, organizations, professors, teachers. It could even be an upperclassman, right? Someone that's about to graduate if you're just starting college. Hey, we literally live the same college lifestyle here at this school. What would you do differently? That's a question that we always ask about, and that's what this podcast is all about, right? Stuff I wish they taught me. Go out there and learn it. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be at the end of the road looking back and think, ah, man, there's so much more that I could have known if I just tried a little bit harder. You guys are in the position and the opportunity to try now, so go out there and do it. Either way, thank you guys so much for listening. I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to sit and talk about the importance of mentorship, the qualities that you're looking out for in a mentor, why you might need a mentor, and I hope that this episode really helps you guys go out there and find one. If you have any more questions, be sure to visit my website at thebalancedlearner.com. Post your questions there, and I look forward to answering them soon. I've never been good at saying goodbye, but something I always say is that we say goodbye so that we could say hello again. Thank you guys so much for tuning into Stuff I Wish They Taught Me. Once again, my name is Alex Luong, and remember, if you want to be a good friend, if you want to be a good homie, then go ahead and think about someone that you might feel will benefit from any of the information that I shared with you guys today. Send them the episode and let them go on their merry way. If you guys have any suggestions, please go to thebalancedlearner.com and click suggestions and let me know what you're thinking. I really want to know. I want to improve, and I want you guys to be there with me. Please, if you have a chance, leave a review or a rating on Apple Podcast or wherever you get your podcast. And it brings me a great honor for me to say this, as I always do, to close off every episode. I told you.